Just a few short years ago, I used to think that Chanel Beauty was an overhyped, overpriced, dated brand. And now it's one of my absolute favorites and one of the most popular here on my Accessible Luxury channel. Chanel has some amazing, effective, and innovative products, but I was trying the wrong ones and I don't want that to happen to you. And while I love this brand, I am not afraid to tell it like it is. So in this video, I'm gonna be sharing my 5 best and 5 worst products from Chanel Beauty. And make sure you stay until the end of the video because I'm gonna be sharing the most underrated Chanel Beauty product that literally no one talks about on social media. Let's get into it. Let's kick things off with one of the best, and I am gonna start with a foundation favorite because foundations are that category that Chanel just excels at. I think it is their best category in my humble opinion. At this point, I have tried every single Chanel foundation that they make and I haven't come across a bad one of the bunch, but there are some that stand out a little bit more than others, and I really think the star of the show is the Chanel Le Beige foundation. Now this is called the Healthy Glow foundation for a reason. It really gives you that beautiful, natural, slightly glowy type of coverage. It says on the Chanel website that this is light to medium coverage, and I would have to agree. It's runny enough that you can sheer it out if you want something a little bit more light, but you can definitely build it up to medium coverage like I've done today. This is what I have on my skin if you were wondering. It has so many beautiful light reflecting particles. It gives you this gorgeous natural radiance, and it also makes it so that you don't have to cake this on to get a really beautiful flawless coverage because you're putting those light reflecting particles to work for you, so you can use less product. It's not as cakey, it doesn't settle into fine lines. And the other thing that I really like about this is that it's very hydrating. It stays fresh and hydrated on my skin all day. It doesn't get cakey, it doesn't get dried out. This is the foundation that my subscribers time and time again tell me is their favorite. Not only their favorite from Chanel, but their favorite holy grail in their entire makeup collection. So I know it's very popular. It's popular for a reason. The hype is real. Now let's hop on over to one of my least favorite products from Chanel Beauty. And you might be surprised because this does tend to be a pretty popular product. A lot of influencers have talked about this, but I'm here to tell you, I think it is so overhyped and not worth it. It is the Le Beige Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream. This is the cream bronzer from Chanel Beauty. And as you can see, I really haven't used that much because I do not care for the color and I do not care for the formula. And in fact, I'm going to be decluttering this very, very soon, but at least, you know, I spent my money so that you don't have to. I feel like this is known to be a pretty iconic product from Chanel Beauty, but what a lot of people don't know is that this was reformulated not too many years ago. So if you tried this years ago, or maybe you heard your favorite influencer talk about how much they liked it, how they've been using it for years, just know that they did change the formula. And in my opinion, they ruined the formula because the new formula, the second ingredient is coconut oil. And there are other products that I use that have coconut oil that I really like, but whatever they did here, they just ruined it. It has a very kind of slippy, overly emollient, and also at the same time kind of silicone-y sort of feel. I don't enjoy the way that it blends on my skin, and I don't think it is long wearing at all. I think it's the coconut oil that just makes it kind of like break up on my face. It sort of disturbs the foundation that I've already, perfectly applied. It just kind of breaks everything down. I just don't think it's worth the price when there's other really, really good bronzers out there on the market, whether they are luxury, prestige, drugstore. Trust me, guys, I have an entire cream bronzer ranking video that I will link down below if you want to hear some of my other favorites. This is just not worth the price. On top of that, the shade range is awful. There's only a couple of shades, even though they extended the line, I think it was maybe a year ago. This shade that I have right here, which is one of the lighter ones, it is so orange. Look at that. It's so warm tone, and don't get me wrong, it's a bronzer, right? It's supposed to add warmth to my very fair, pasty skin, but this is just not natural looking. Chanel, if you're gonna be a luxury brand, you need to keep up with what we're seeing at Sephora, which is at least like a couple of shades, because having the perfect shade of bronzer for your skin, now that is a luxury. And by the way, if you are enjoying this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really helps me out. And if you are new here, maybe consider subscribing to my channel channel. My name is Sophia, and I upload new videos just like this every single week, all about everyday beauty and accessible luxury style. We would love to have you be a part of the fam, so hit that subscribe button if you are interested. And if you want to hang out with me some more, I also do live stream every single Wednesday here on YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern. We get the community together, we hang out, we talk about makeup, new releases, fashion trends, everything. So come hang out with us this Wednesday if you have some time. Whew, okay, let's go back to my happy place, which clearly are Chanel foundations. Yes, I'm including another one because they're just so good, okay? And the next one that I want to talk about is a very light coverage foundation. If you want something super light coverage, if you want to enhance the natural skin that you have, or if you really want to look like you're not wearing any makeup at all, may I introduce you to the Beiges Water Fresh Tint. So many other brands, more affordable brands, have tried to replicate this foundation, or I should say skin tint, but I just don't feel like they have done it as well as Chanel. Now, what is this? It is a very, very light coverage skin tint. If you look very closely, you will see it's basically like a hydrating skin serum with tiny little globs of the pigment. And when you squirt it out onto your hand and you kind of, break it up with a brush, those globs of pigment, they burst and they disperse the pigment throughout the serum. You put it onto your face and it just gives the most gorgeous bare skin type of effect. There's not a lot of coverage here, okay? It's definitely like the lightest tint that I have in my collection. There is just something about the finish of this foundation, the combination of both the pigments but also that super hydrating serum that looks so blurring. It makes your skin look so plumped and hydrated and, like I said, very natural. It is not greasy. It's formulated with 75% water, and water is not greasy like oil, so it does kind of set down. It pairs beautifully with other kinds of makeup, especially cream makeup. There's the Water Fresh blushes from Chanel, which are also good and pair really well with this. If you don't really like to wear a lot of foundation day to day, you're more into like skincare and something very light and natural, I highly recommend checking this out. I have so many subscribers that tell me this is their holy grail. Next up, another Chanel bestseller where I think you can save your money. And this is gonna be a little bit controversial, but I think that you can skip very, very easily on the Volume de Chanel mascara. This is the product that I feel like every single Chanel sales associate at the counter tries to upsell you on. And a lot of people, maybe they started using this years ago, but I'm here to tell you, we've come a long way in terms of mascara formulas, and this one just feels very, very outdated to me. Now, what do I mean by that? I have this on my lashes today. I decluttered mine, but I have this little sample that I just got from the boutique just to show you that it does look very beautiful. It's, volumizing. It's called Volume de Chanel. It's lengthening. I feel like it's fairly easy to apply, but man, does this dry out. It's not long wearing at all. It's pretty easy to remove, I'll give it that, but it's not long wearing. It flakes on me, it smudges on me. I kind of regret putting it on for this video because I did have to touch up. It was kind of smudging right here onto like my upper brow bone. And in fact, when I first applied this, I already had, immediately after application, flakes right under my eye. It had already started flaking, and maybe it was from the little sample tube, but it just kind of goes to show you it dries out very, very easily. We've come a long way in terms of mascara formulations. I have several in my collection that look just as beautiful as this, and they don't budge. Like, they don't budge through like a Peloton workout or the gym. I live in Dallas. It gets very hot here. There are much better mascaras than this. I'm gonna link some down below that are my faves that I feel like give the same effect, but are much more long wearing. I just think that for $40, I would expect a lot more luxury out of this, and I think that Chanel has much more innovative formulas in other parts of their line. Next up, let's talk about one of the newer standout products from Chanel Beauty, and these are some of my favorite in my collection, not only from Chanel, but from all the brands that I love and feature on this channel. These are the Chanel Cream to Powder blushes, and as the name would suggest, they are not completely a cream, but also not completely a powder. Let me explain. What are the things that we like about powder blushes? They are easy to work with, they're very blendable, and they're also a little bit more long wearing than a cream blush, right? But cream blushes, they do look a little bit more natural and skin-like and moisturizing. And with these babies, you really do get the best of both worlds. If you look very closely, you'll notice that this blush, it's not completely solid. It has a little bit of like a soft and squishy texture, but you'll also notice that it's not greasy or, you know, super creamy and emollient like a traditional cream blush would be. So when you buff these onto the skin, they're very easy to work with and to build up and apply, just like a powder blush would be, but they give more of like a hydrated look. They really melt into the skin. They have a little bit of radiance as well, which is nice. It kind of blurs. So if you like the idea of a cream blush, but maybe they just don't last on your skin, or, you know, maybe you have dry skin like me or more mature skin and you really don't want to highlight any pores with something that is too dry or powdery, I highly recommend checking these out. The only thing that I don't like about these is the shade range. We need more than 5 shades, Chanel. We need more nudes, we need more mauves, we need more shades, okay? There's not enough for everybody. They certainly are buildable. I think that they're pigmented, but I think if there were more shades, everybody could find something that really speaks to them. This one right here is my favorite. This one is called Rose Radiant, and it is just the perfect classic Chanel, like French rose type of color. A beautiful natural flush for the cheek. It has a little bit of radiance, as the name would suggest, so I often like to suggest this shade, but I do think that we need more in the range. And then on the flip side, we have the powder blushes. And I hate to say it because I love blush, but these are one of the worst products from Chanel Beauty. They have some beautiful, very elegant shades, but it's the formula. The formula is just not that great compared to other brands out on the market. If you want some recommendations, I will link some down below. I also have a blush ranking video that might be helpful to you. These, a lot of people complain that they are very difficult to pick up. I'm always getting questions about what brush is good for Chanel blushes, and you can make them work for you. I do have 2 shades that I enjoy. I really like the way that they look once I get them onto my skin, but they are hard to pick up, I will admit. This one is one of my favorites. It's called Jersey. It's a very classic shade, it's a very neutral shade, but the formula, it's hard to kind of grip out of the pan, and you can tell that I have quite a bit of hard pan on here. It's not a very luxurious experience, and I feel like that's what you should be getting when you purchase something very expensive from a brand like Chanel. You want luxury, you want it to be the best of the best, and these just are not silky enough, they're not pigmented enough, they're not easy to work with. I know that Chanel, the formulas, like the finishes, are supposed to be more subtle, but I feel like this takes it to a whole new level where it's just not super user-friendly for the Chanel customer. Please comment down below, let me know if you agree. Are there maybe some shades that are better than others? But this is something that I hear from a lot of my subscribers, and I'm really hoping that Chanel improves it very, very soon. I am an eyeshadow palette junkie. At this point, I've tested hundreds of luxury eyeshadow palettes, and what I've noticed is that when it comes to Chanel eyeshadows in particular, they're very polarizing because a lot of consumers, they equate quality with pigmentation, and that's just not what you're gonna get from Chanel makeup in general. The style of Chanel makeup is a little bit softer, it's a little bit more refined, more elegant. Not that you can't get that from more pigmented makeup, it's just a different style. I don't think that something that is less pigmented is poor quality, because I do think that there's a way to do something that's really soft in a very luxurious way. And that is what I get from this line of eyeshadow palettes. These are the Le Beige Healthy Glow Natural Eyeshadow Palettes. And I will admit, I have every single one because I just love these. They're each a little bit different, but I would say they're all very consistent in terms of quality. And I think that these are some of the best, like, soft, everyday eyeshadow palettes that we don't hear enough about here on social media. At least I think so. I feel like these are very underhyped. Each palette comes with 5 separate shades. Some of them have a little bit more sparkle than others, I will say that, but for the most part, they're all very soft, very wearable, and extremely user-friendly. Like if you are a makeup beginner, or maybe you're gifting this to somebody that, you know, isn't very experienced with makeup application, they're still going to look good because all the shades just blend together so seamlessly. This one is the one that I tend to wear the most. It's called Warm. This one just gives a beautiful little hint of coral to the eyes. I also like that it has this little sparkle shade to just add a little bit of a glimmer to the center of the eye or maybe the inner corner. This is the one that I wear the most. However, I'm going to show you which one is my favorite. It's this one right here. This one is called Intense. And while it is called Intense, I wouldn't say it's like the most, it's Chanel, okay? It's not the most intense palette ever, but if you are into those sort of like olive, khaki types of shades, this is gonna be your palette. I wore this last night with the khaki metal eyeliner from Chanel, which by the way, those are also very good. You can pair one of these with one of their long wear eyeliners. These are the Yo waterproof. So these are kind of just like a match made in heaven. If you're somebody that likes a more subtle, kind of refined, very natural, easy look, and also if you have issues with your eyeliner lasting, if you have issues with any kind of like transfer with hooded eyes, oily eyelids, these are going to be your best friends. So this is kind of like a great everyday pairing for me in my makeup routine. But I do want to warn you about the Chanel eyeshadow quads. This was the product from Chanel that really turned me off from the brand in the beginning because like I said, I love eyeshadow palettes. And the thing about the Chanel eyeshadow quads and why I'm including it in the worst category is that these are just so inconsistent. You never really know what you're going to get. Some of the palettes in the line are beautiful, especially a lot of the seasonal ones that come out. Some of them are just chef's kiss. Love them. Some of my favorites in my collection, and then others are just dry, dusty, not super pigmented, like not super pigmented for Chanel we're talking about. Blend together all into one shade, no differentiation between the tones and the texture, and also, and I hear this from a lot of my subscribers, not very long wearing. You don't get a ton of longevity from Chanel shadows, so I need a little bit of something. I need the texture and the experience of applying them to be really on point. This colorway in particular is probably one of the palettes that disappointed me the most because I really like warm tones. So I went and bought Warm Memories from Chanel. In fact, this might be the first eyeshadow palette that I bought from Chanel, at least from the permanent line. I just get absolute dust from this. It just looks like one shade. Once it goes onto the lids, there's no longevity to this. I just feel like for the price, my money could have been spent better elsewhere. And if you want some more recommendations about different formulas, you know, definitely subscribe to my channel because I talk about so many eyeshadow favorites here. I love the ones from YSL, the ones from Hermes. There's so many good brands out there, and there certainly are some good ones from Chanel, but this is the category from Chanel that I would say watch a review before buying because not all of them are created equal. So many of us, when I say the words liquid lipstick, ooh, we just recoil at the thought of those dry, crusty formulas that we just had to scrape off of our lips. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones that just kind of sit on top of the lips and suck out every bit of moisture that we have left on that part of our face. I know, I've totally been there, but I'm here to tell you that there are some good liquid lipsticks out there on the market, and in fact, I'm wearing one on my lips right now. These are the La Rouge Duo Ultra Tenue, and these are some of the best liquid lipsticks I have ever tried. A lot of times I like the idea of a liquid lipstick, but it just doesn't really work out. Sometimes it's just a little bit too fussy or too drying, as I mentioned before. These really embody the essence of Chanel. They're elegant, they're easy to use, they have the most beautiful finish to them, and just like what I'm looking for in a liquid lipstick, they're very, very long wearing. I've actually been wearing this lipstick for a couple of hours now. I applied it for the demo, I ate a salad for lunch, I filmed another video, I've been drinking a cup of coffee here this entire time, and look, it looks absolutely perfect on my lips. This is one of my favorite shades. It's called Intense Caramel. It's a beautiful everyday nude, and the way that these work is that you have the liquid lipstick on one side, you put it on, you do need to let it dry for, you know, maybe like a minute or two, just so it can set down a bit. And once it sets down, it really stays there for hours. And then you have this beautiful, luscious gloss on the other side. And I know it's just a clear gloss, but it just has the most beautiful sheen and texture. It's not super sticky. This is one of the most comfortable long-wearing lip products that I have ever tried, and I constantly hear that from my subscribers as well. And unlike a lot of lip products, whether it's a liquid lipstick or not, you can continue to just top up the gloss and they don't get disgusting. I don't have to like completely scrape and wipe it all off and redo the whole thing every single time I have a meal. They are so long-wearing, so user-friendly. Like, these truly feel luxurious, and that's why I always recommend them. And you know what? If you're not a liquid lipstick type of person, maybe you're a little bit, you know, lower maintenance, and you want something that you don't really need a mirror to apply, the other formula, this is a little bit of a bonus, the other formula I would recommend is the Rouge Cocoa Bloom. This color is called Dream. I think this is the best-selling color, if I'm not mistaken. You get kind of a similar look that you get with these liquid lipsticks after you put on the gloss, but it's just in like a one and done type of bullet. You can see it's very pigmented, but you get a lot of shine and gloss from these. Not as long wearing, but a little bit easier for on the go. So I just wanted to recommend that as well. It is your lucky day, my friend, because I'm about to save you so much money with this next worst product from Chanel Beauty. It is the Rouge Allure L'Extrait lipsticks. These were, and I think continue to be, overhyped by Chanel and the beauty community. There's really nothing super unique or groundbreaking about these. They're just moisturizing lipsticks. Moisturizing, refillable lipsticks. Ooh, so groundbreaking. It's not a bad formula. The thing is that these are the most expensive lipsticks, other than like the really bougie Le Rouge 31 line that's like over $100. I can't remember how much those are. Other than those, these are the most expensive lippies that Chanel produces. But get this.
It's like the teeniest little bit of product.
Look at that. It's 0.07 ounces. If you were to purchase just like a regular velvet lipstick from Chanel, you're getting 0.12 ounces. So these are about 40% less product for about $8 more. They're $58 for this teeny little thing, and there's nothing particularly special about them. I have not purchased another one since I got this one. I can list the shade down below if you're interested, but I just don't think they're worth the money compared to every other luxury brand that I've tried here on my channel. These really stand out to me as a unique, innovative formula. There's really nothing unique or innovative about these compared to the others that I've tried, and for the $58 price tag, it's just not enough for me. So those were my 5 best and 5 worst products from Chanel Beauty. But we're not done yet, because remember, at the beginning of this video, I promised you a bonus recommendation. This is the #1 underrated Chanel Beauty product that I feel like nobody talks about. A lot of people don't know about this product. It is the Boy de Chanel foundation. I just discovered this maybe about a year ago at this point. And when I came across this foundation, I was very confused. I'd never heard anybody talk about it before, and I guess it's because this is supposed to be a foundation for men. At least that's what it looks like on the website. All of the models are men, and boy, they have been gatekeeping this from us ladies, okay? Because this is, I actually think this is probably my favorite Chanel foundation ever. To me, it is a very unique formulation, similar to the Chanel Waterfresh tint that I mentioned earlier. There is kind of like a hydrating serum component to this that really hydrates the skin, gives a little bit more of a natural look, and also kind of helps to sheer out the pigments. However, with the Waterfresh tint, you have more serum, like mostly serum, and then a little bit of tint. With this, you have mostly tint or foundation, and then a little bit of serum. So as a result, you get something that's a little bit more medium coverage. Now, I know that Chanel has the Waterfresh Touch, which is supposed to be the more pigmented form of the Water Fresh tint. I think this is so much better. I find that the Water Fresh touch, it gets a little bit cakey on my skin. There's something about this that is so much more radiant and velvety and perfecting, but it still looks very natural and hydrated on the skin. It is an absolutely stunning foundation that literally nobody talks about. I'll link it down below. Hopefully they have a good shade for you or they have it in stock. So many of you messaged me telling me that you absolutely love this. It is so, so good. Let me know in the comments down below, what are your best and worst of Chanel Beauty? I would love to know. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, or better yet, go watch another video. Up next, we have the best and worst of Dior Beauty. I'll see you there.